And air. Hi, my name is Lotte Vesterli from Life After Bullying, and I'm together with my good friend and colleague from Switzerland, Bea Juncker. Hi, Bea.
Hi, nice to be here.
To be here. And we really want to talk about the voice and how trauma influence our voice. Because Bea have a lot of training in voice and do voice trainings and speaking around that. And I have a lot of experience with the voice as well, and do some mostly on the trauma behind the voice and how we make that. So I want to start about sharing my story and then take your take on it, Bea, and whatever story comes from that. So when I was a child, I was bullied by my teacher and my classmates, and that impacted me on my self-esteem, on my social anxiety, and most of all, it impacted me on my voice. So during my school years, I had speech therapists several times because no one could hear me. They couldn't hear me in class, they couldn't hear me outside of it, and usually when I was speaking, two things would happen. Either people would say, I didn't hear you, or I was simply ignored. Probably because they didn't hear me. So over time, I lost my voice and it got lower and lower to a point where I was almost whispering. The voice training didn't work. It worked in the way it helped me to know and exactly learn how to speak. But it wasn't that was the problem, the biggest problem. The biggest problem for me was my self-esteem and my anxiety. So no matter how much training, I could speak clearly in front of the therapist. As soon as I got outside, the voice would go down again. What are your take on that short version of my story?
That's really interesting. I think the voice is being underestimated. Actually, everybody's underestimating the power of the voice and how the voice is connected to what we went through in our lives. It's not only women, but especially women who use their voice in I don't want to say wrong way, but in a not so powerful way. And a lot of it also goes back to your childhood. Especially women, they learn you have to be nice. So a lot of women talk in this very high voice and just want to be nice. But when you're in a business surrounding and you talk with this very soft and high voice, you probably won't be heard or heard. People will just, as you said, ignore you. And you said before that you work with trauma release as well, right? And by releasing the trauma and by finding your self-esteem, you got your voice back. And I think this is really a key point, that the self-esteem is directly linked to your voice. And even if you only hear a person on the phone, you can hear the emotions behind it. You cannot, this is really, when you're meeting someone and you see the person, you can fake emotions in your face. Like you can make facial expressions and pretend to be happy, for example. Yeah, when you're actually feeling sad, right? You can, to a certain amount, you can fake it, but you cannot fake the voice. So when you are on the phone with somebody and this person is not feeling well, even if this person, you cannot see her, but even if this person is saying, yes, I'm doing really good, you can feel that that's not true. You hear it. You hear the emotions in the voice every single time. And that's sometimes when you meet someone and this person goes like, so nice to see you. And you can really hear it in the voice that the emotions that this person is feeling towards you is not the same that she is trying to send you through the voice. And this is the situation when you feel, when your intuition or your stomach feeling is telling you that something does not really feeling right.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really important to get connected to your own emotions and to know your own emotions, and also be aware of how much power a voice has if you're using it the right way, and if you're using it the way as it is meant to be used.
It gives a lot. Like I can see the difference when I have been working with trauma, no matter if they come with voice issues or something else. that suddenly they sound totally different. They sound more free. And also in my work, I very often get to people get stuck emotion in the throat, so they start doing our work, or they just really feel they get strangled, like in the voice, and there's always unspoken anger. Always.
And it's, I mean, are you working with women and men, or mostly?
Yeah, women and men.
Yeah, both.
I agree with you that I more often see this kind of trauma in women, but I do sometimes see it in men as well. But it's more women who gets to the throat thing.
Yes.
Where they suddenly kind of can't grab. They really literally feel they can't breathe.
Right.
When we get to that point. And as soon as we allow that unspoken anger to get out and get freed, they start breathing again.
That's interesting.
Or they really start coughing, or they really feel this emotion when we work at that deep level.
Yeah.
And every time is anger. And every time they relax.
It's really interesting because there are some experts out there who say that traumas also can be like parents can give the traumas to their children and so on, like over several generations. And as we know, women for a very long time, and still today in some countries, women are not or have not been allowed to speak up or to say what they think. Yeah. So there are some experts who say that it also could be linked to that fact that especially a lot of women have problems with saying what they think and speaking up because they have not been allowed to do so for a long time.
Yeah.
Have you had experience with that as well?
Yeah, I have. Not directly when I recall it with the voice, but I have been working with inherited trauma. That definitely can go back to generations. And if people are pushed down, like if I have a client who's pushed down by the father who can't show emotion, when I work with generational, it's usually their father as well had problems. So, but when we work through all of these generations, a lot clears up. So I can see how the same thing would be in the voice, that you kind of go really suppress the voice. So you can't speak up. Like from my own bullying experience, when I was always told I was no good, I couldn't, like what I said was not worthy. So why should I say anything? And I guess the same thing is happening if you kept being said, nice girls, it's only allowed to be seen, not heard.
Right. You said before that a lot of times not being able to speak up is linked to anger. Is it a lot of same reasons for women, or is it different reasons, but it just comes down to anger in the end?
I think it's different reasons. I guess with the throat, I've really seen a lot with the anger. There's some unspoken emotions, often anger in that. But yeah, I've seen it a lot. It's a lot of different reasons in reality, but because it's come from all different sort of trauma, like the bullying, like having an unstable family life, like when the father and mother would, I was just thinking one case that I actually quite often have seen in my clients is when the dad has an alcohol problem or rage problem. So they really quiet down and the mother quiet down too. That's one way I see it. Yeah, there's a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But anger a lot with the throat and something that's not expressed.
Yes.
That's the key.
Yeah, and just like going out of your, like allowing yourself to make this step outside of your comfort zone, because in the end it's all about that, right? You have not been used to say what you think, to express your emotions, and it's always outside of the comfort zone, but that's the place where growth can happen.
And you're actually touching a key point there, because
right? For many people this is like so difficult.
Yeah. And even kids today are not allowed to express their emotions in schools, at home, and that men and girls alike. Don't cry.
Yeah.
Like, be nice. Don't fight with your brother or sister. We are not allowed to express. We're not allowed to express tears. We're not allowed to express all of these things. And whenever we get these things stuck, that's what causes our problem later in life.
And then what I think is also really important is that there is fear coming on top of that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, also already as children, we're learning that behave, because what would other people think around us, right? Mm-hmm. Things like, look, this lady is already watching you. Stop doing this. So we are learning that if other people look at us, this is something bad. We have to behave so that other people may not think something negative. And I think
what happened when we're on stage?
Fear, right? This is really a huge fear of many people.
Yeah.
Fear of what others could think.
Yeah. And that's exactly when we go on stage. What you're working at, that for people to present. So when you go on stage, everyone is looking at you.
Right.
And and you are so afraid what they will say.
Yes. And you know, it's really funny because I have been working at the radio for 12 years, 13 years already. And about 8 years ago, I was not able to stand in front of people and say something. And it was my fear was so bad. I mean, everyone was assuming she's working at the radio, so she's pretty good at standing in front of people and talking. No, I was not. I had some friends of mine invited for a brunch at my 30th birthday. It was a lot, 20 people, something like that. We were at a wonderful lounge, and like at one point, a friend of mine said, "No, it's your time. You should say something." And I was shocked. I could not even stand in front of my friends and say something. It was not possible. Really, I was avoiding it, and I was not doing it. And it's funny because, you know, sometimes you're exaggerating. Sometimes it's just your mind makes things worse than they really were. But in this case, no, it was really the case, because I still have some friends who remember this situation because they thought it was so weird that I was working at the radio and not able to stand in front of my own friends and say something.
And just share the contest that you just won.
Right.
So and right now you really speak.
I forced myself to step outside of this comfort zone and just learn to stand in front of people. And I started going to the Toastmasters. This is a speaking club where you go like every second week, and you just go there and you have your speeches, and you get feedback from other people, and they have once a year they have a contest, and then the best ones of the club, they go to the next level, and the best one of this level go to the next level. And so yes, I participated for the first time this year. So I started going to the Toastmaster Club 1.5 years ago, and this year I participated in the contest for the very first time, and I won in my club. And then I went to the next step, to the next stage, where other winners of other clubs were competing against each other, and I won again. And I went on to the next step and to the next stage, and I won again. And now I will be going to Italy in middle of May to deliver my German speech there. And yeah, it's pretty exciting because it will be a lot more people than normally in this surrounding or in this situation, and yeah, it will be interesting for me, and it's another step out of my comfort zone,
and that's what is keep on growing. Like I had kind of a similar story when I was having a visualization about in 2011 for like seeing my future and what my purpose was, and I saw myself like speaking at several places, and I was like in tears. I was literally crying, and I went up to one helping out and saying, that can't be right. I'm not doing it right. I mean, I cannot speak in front of anyone. Like, I'll be paralyzed. And I had this vision, and he shared with me, if you can see it, You can do it. It's just like, oh, no. So did the same thing as you did. I didn't join Toastmasters, but I took another speaking training. And today I actually speak international as well, and has been speaking in front of hundreds of people. But it's about pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing.
Right.
And also learning the skills. And for my case, I really worked a lot with the trauma as well. That was behind.
Yes.
So all of that in combination, and you can get out and you can actually stand up and see, hey, I have a message for you to hear. Listen in.
I mean, the very interesting thing or fact is also that, like, standing in front of people or speaking in front of people is the biggest fear on this planet. Yeah. There have been studies about fears, and it's even bigger than the fear of death. And that's crazy. And so many people are so, like, they're so scared of speaking in front of others. It's crazy how many people have this fear and are not able to just stand in front of others and talk. And it does, in the end, it doesn't make sense, because like most people can stand in front of 5 or 6 people, no problem. And then somewhere has to be this border, right? Like, where does it shift? Is it with 7 people, with 8 people, with 9 people? I mean, many people say with 50. Okay, is it with 49? Yes. Is it with 48? Yes. So when you're really doing it step by step, you realize how funny it is, because there has to be, like, really the change between, I'm not afraid to speak in front of 7 people, but afraid to speak in front of 8 people or 10 people. So when you start to kind of bring them together, you realize how funny it is.
Yeah, but what's the difference? There's no difference than speaking to 8 people than to 100.
Yeah, actually.
There's a bigger difference if they're going like, oh, I don't want to listen to her, and you can't capture them.
Right.
That's a bigger difference. But can you capture just a few people in that room, no matter how many people there are?
Yeah.
And you can deliver. And when you deliver, then they want to listen in. Great stuff.
Yeah, interesting. Really interesting topic.
Well, all of you, if you want to know more, follow us. You can look below this video, and I'm going to put the link to my page and Bea's page. So you can learn more about speaking and finding out where is your trauma, what's blocking you, and what is it that you really want into your life around this topic. And as well, feel free to ask us any questions you have. Thanks for listening.